Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. We've got an excellent panel today. We got Lisa Lawson joining us on the Zoomcast. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, everybody.
Lisa, I hear you on the mic. Let's see. Did you call in? We got you bringing up. We'll bring you up there. We'll get you going here. So we're doing a Zoomcast live. And of course, we bring in our real estate guest, Ed Brittingham. Hey, Ed, how's it going?
I'm doing great, Harvey. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Patricia, I pronounce it Uribe. It's pronounced Uribe. It's a beautiful name. And of course, you guys are with ReMax Eclipse out there. What's the pool crew mean? What does that mean, the pool crew? Is that your team?
The pool crew is kind of our motto, if you will, where it's our agents. And it's not necessarily the pool like you swim in.
Okay, a pool of people, a pool of talent,
pool of commitment, pool of dedication. So what our focus is that you have more than one agent working on your behalf, especially in the market that we're in today. That's a competitive advantage in my mind, and from what I've heard from our customers and clients.
You guys like it?
Oh, we love it.
The team concept in real estate is really taken off. I mean, we've seen it more so in the last 10 years than ever before. And of course, if you're just listening, the Hardcore Mortgage Show, again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are going to take your calls all morning long, 248-539-9797. As I was saying, there's no doubt that this concept of having teams and building people, because if you're out on their own, Patricia, there's no doubt calls are coming in on your other transactions. Listing agents are getting back to you on offers that are out there. So there's always this constant phone calls. And boy, every time I call an agent, they seem to be at a showing of some sort. And we're going to get into that, why they can't step out and have a quick conversation. But there's no doubt having this team aspect allows more people to help your clients. It's a better client, experience overall.
It's a better client relation. It's a better client experience because real estate is busy. So sometimes you might have a scheduled showing where you can't go for one reason or another. So having a partner that you work with and trust and is able to pick up the slack, it's unparalleled.
This morning, we'll talk a little bit about different real estate aspects and things that go on in our industry and stuff. I think we'll hit that up. Again, we always bring information about buying and selling houses. Lisa, interest rates at all-time lows. There's no doubt, Lisa, we're going to be talking about home purchasing. We've been nonstop busy. It's been late nights every night.
Yeah, I was in the office last night till about 9:20 on a Friday night because we got to stay on top of it. That's what we do. We're service oriented. We want to make sure that our borrowers and clients are not going to miss an opportunity, which means sometimes we have to burn the midnight oil, but we're cool with that. That's what we do.
Yeah, people have lives too. And again, a lot of families are just flat out, Patricia, they're just flat out working during the daytime. They're 9 to 5 jobs. You got to feed the kids, get them to soccer practice. There might be a small window to show houses between 7 and 9 o'clock at night. And we're seeing a lot of that, especially with busier lives that we all have.
Yes. Late evenings, all weekends,
Nonstop. You guys make the big bucks, but there's no doubt it's worth it, right? I mean, you guys deserve it, let's say.
Yeah. It's family time is limited and it's all about the client.
Harry sent in a text. Harry couldn't make it with us this morning. And he reached out and he says, it really is always busy. It always seems like that over the last, again, I only have 30 years experience. I can tell you, for some reason, we used to say home buying season stopped when the kids went back to school. But boy, oh boy, it seems like there's enough rollover. September and October have been really busy. Are you guys already finding that for 2021?
In the last 2 weeks, I would say it has kind of shifted a little bit, but we're still seeing more inventory coming on this month than we have in previous years.
Oh, we're gonna get into that one for sure too. So, what do you think is actually, Lisa? Did you hear that? More inventory will definitely sort of calm down this buying frenzy we have because people will get more offers accepted. They won't feel like this crazy competition. Where's it coming from? Where are all these new listings coming from?
I think it's that people were hesitant to put their house on the market because they didn't know what was going to happen next. So a lot of sellers are hesitant to put their home on the market now because they don't know where they're going to go to next. So there's kind of like a gridlock, if you will, with buyers anxiously looking for homes and sellers kind of reluctant because they don't have much inventory that they want to move to.
Definitely talk about where the pandemic is. Interest rates have been at all-time lows. We saw another dip in the market as interest rates were going up a little bit, Lisa, at the beginning of this year. Mm-hmm. We'll say we saw a little bit of a spike in March and April. And that was with the first new news that people were going to become vaccinated and opening up. We saw opening up of the states and different states, of course. April and May. And then we see the drop again with the Delta variant, and we don't know where this pandemic is headed. And I think that's where the bond market is. It doesn't know. Is it going to really make a move up or maybe just drop a smidge?
Yeah, I think that's, when you don't know what to do, do nothing. That's the thing, right? You don't want to make the wrong move. So just stay still, wait a little longer. It usually come to you. And I think everyone's having that we don't know what to do, so we're doing nothing kind of mentality. It's not necessarily a bad thing though, because right now it's holding the interest rates really low, which is, giving more buying power to the people who want to purchase homes, and the people who are interested in refinancing. It's making even more sense for them to do so now. The problem is we have no idea how long this is going to last. There is no crystal ball. The market is temperamental. It always has been. So this could last for, a month or two. It could last for a week or two. We really have no way of knowing. So if this is something that you're interested in doing and you're interested in upgrading, maybe moving to a bigger home, different home, your buying power is bar none right now. This is the time to evaluate those things.
Yeah, the rents have gone up through the roof. We've seen that. A lot of families took advantage. And again, a lot of individuals said, you know what, I'm going to get a little piece of real estate. I'm going to diversify my portfolio and buy some rental homes. And of course, they had to pay top dollar for them over the last 3 or 4 years. Now they're collecting top dollar in rent. So it's a choice you're going to have. Either figure out home ownership if you're going to live here or wherever you're going to live in the country. We do loans everywhere. So wherever you're going to live, make sure that you can set yourself up for home ownership. It is a lot less expensive, as you guys know, probably to own a house than to rent a house in today's market with these very low rates.
Absolutely. With the price of the rent has appreciated considerably alongside the increase in value of a home. If you're a renter, you're paying someone else's equity.
Yeah.
If you have the ability to become a homeowner, take advantage of that. The equity is you can carry with you. You can move it to another home. You can move it to a vacation home, wherever you choose to do. If you're a renter, you're helping somebody else.
So much equity out there. It's in the billions of dollars. Again, so many families that hung on to their house, did the right thing. 2000, Patricia, you've been around, Pat, a long time. You know what took place in 2007, 8, 9, 10. Really, things started turning around in 2012. And those families that took advantage of maybe the HARP loan, the Home Affordable Refinance Program, or the HAMP, Home Affordable Modification Program. So those programs are really integral of helping families, Lisa, stay in the home. But how about those families that went to credit unions, Lisa? They weren't budging. The credit unions had zero programs for people. They weren't going ahead and putting the second mortgage sign, subordinating those second mortgages. And again, it's just a reminder out there, you got to deal with the real people and learn what the differences are in today's market.
Yeah, I mean, people don't probably understand that credit unions work on a completely different financial platform than what mortgage lending does. And sometimes that can be a good thing. But often when these programs come out with these federal programs, they do not get to participate. I can't even tell you, Harvey, how many times you and I would take phone calls saying, hey, I'm underwater on my house. We can't refinance. Do you guys have any programs? And then we find out they finance with a credit union and it's just not feasible for them. There is no programs for that. So it's, not like I said, I don't want to bash every single credit union out there, but there's a reason why people use mortgage lenders. This is all we do. Credit unions, they have checking accounts and savings accounts and CDs. We don't do any of that. All we do is mortgage lending. So
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac stepped right into the problems that we had and came up with a solution. Again, those families, and as you know, Ed, who hung on to their homes, a lot of them are selling their homes now. They cannot believe the amount of equity in them. The buying frenzy has driven up home prices. We're seeing over 20% equity in all of our hot neighborhoods.
Well, we've got increases in home values in double digits just for this year. 2021 compared to 2020. It's just incredible.
All right. Again, we saw about somewhere between, I don't know, it could be between 14 and 20%. Ed's making the reference to it. We're not even out of this 2021 year. And already we see homes appreciating. And what you might have bought for a year or two ago, that's another reason why you can now use that equity to maybe get out of that PMI that you might have been paying. Or we see so many families, Pat, that maybe had to get an FHA loan. And of course, FHA might have that upfront MIP, but now they're paying the monthly MIP that never goes away. Lisa, we're converting a lot of those families now into conventional mortgages.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I did 2 yesterday. That's part of the reason I was in the office so late, It doesn't make sense to pay mortgage insurance if you don't have to. We're saving people money every month. And right now, the majority of people are dropping their rate fairly significantly. Even if you bought your home a year or 2 years ago, half a point, 3/4 of a point, make the call, save the money.
There you go. 248-539-9797. That's our first segment. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. If you're buying or selling real estate, we've got all your answers. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Hey, welcome back to the show, 916. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. coming up on our 23rd year here, of course, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, equal housing lender. Got great people on today. ReMax Eclipse joins us. You guys got your brand new office in Macomb. I know Ryan and Nick and those other guys were sort of Facebook buddies. Great guys. Levinwood. I know Levin too, of course. And we're excited to have you guys on. We know you got the new Macomb office. Reach out to these folks. If you're looking at buying or selling a house, call ReMax Eclipse right there. And of course, you can find them in Macomb. Where's your office? What city is it?
Our office is in Sterling Heights.
Oh, good. So you guys are right in the heart of Macomb. So if you want to buy northern Macomb or anywhere in Macomb County, that's a great place to start with you guys. You guys will do it anywhere in the 5 county areas. But are you guys more experts in that area? Let's just say go there with it. Are you from that area?
I'm from that area. I live in Sterling Heights. I've lived there for over 20 years.
We used to get that quite a bit. And Lisa, you'll join in on that. I mean, I'm not an expert. I can do a mortgage anywhere in the state of Michigan. I know every little facet about every city. That's sort of real estate 101. Do you really need to be in the city, or do you need to know what to look out for? Like, if you're a real estate agent, you're sharing the great information with your clients. Lease, well, and septics, they keep coming up on our transactions. We're afraid that our families aren't doing their due diligence. I see it all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes when you work with an agent who's familiar with the area, whether it's in Sterling Heights or even the surrounding areas, versus someone like I live a little bit more rural and well and septic's more common out by me, and we're only maybe 5 miles apart. I think when you deal with someone who is very familiar with the area, you're making sure that you're getting all those I's dotted and those T's crossed. So you know that you're not missing any of those important aspects. You know, nothing is worse than when moving into a property and finding out that your septic field needs to be replaced or dug up, or that needs repairs because you didn't do, the testing and the due diligence beforehand, for sure.
We got a lot to share with you this morning. Home inspections, negotiation, agency relationship stuff, buyer, seller, title policy. Man, we got so much to share with you. 248-539-9797. Let's start off the morning with DeAndre over in Dearborn. A question about closing on a house. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Real good. Thanks for the call. Go ahead, DeAndre. So wait a minute here. You got a purchase and you're moving forward with it. You signed an agreement for the purchase price of how much?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
What was the answer? Go ahead, DeAndre, one more time. 212. And what other language is in that purchase agreement? Did you give an appraisal guarantee of some sort? And what did the house appraise for? So you have to you're going to, off the 196, you're getting an FHA or conventional mortgage. So you're going to go 3.5% down off the 196. Are you prepared to make up the difference between the 212 and the 196 appraisal? 12 and 4, that's $16,000 extra. I don't got a lot of FHA borrowers that have an extra $16,000. Do you? Oh, 5,000 above appraisal. Okay, I'm good then. Yeah, I like that. So you're at 201, so you only got to come up with $5,000 extra. That's good. Yeah, they can do that. Yeah, they can do that. It doesn't help in your situation. I think you feel pretty good about it because you like the house at 212. Would you guys agree? He's at 205 or something. DeAndre, yeah, the agents can do that. They can pull the listing agent. Again, it's in the listing agent's court, not your agent. Your agent's not doing anything. You've already reached out to your agent and told them, I'm good with that deal. I don't want to change that appraisal. So the listing agent could cause a little bit of a stir here, let's say, but that's okay. They can want to make sure they could send additional comparable sales and do a rebuttal to the lender. So they can send additional listings of homes that might have sold just recently that might not have been included on that appraisal, and they could do a rebuttal and maybe determine that the house is worth a little bit of more money. I'm going to tell you that that's probably not going to work out so well for them, especially in today's marketplace. The real estate agency, Andre, and anyone listening, it's a great call, and I'm going to let you guys talk about it. Lisa, there's no doubt that listing agent had the opportunity. They could have met the appraiser at the house with the best listings, the most recent ones that they found out that the one down the street was selling in a few days, or just sold and wasn't quite yet on the books. they had that chance, didn't they, Lisa?
Yeah, usually. I mean, when what he's talking about is a reconsideration of value, or what we call in the industry ROV. So what the listing agent wants to do is submit additional comps for homes that sold in the area in a similar size and a like style that the appraiser possibly didn't use for whatever reason, and to bump that value up. And it happens sometimes in this industry. The thing is, with an FHA loan, those appraisals are recorded. So whatever comes to fruition, whether the reconsideration of value is successful or it isn't, that appraised value is going to stick with that property for 6 months. So that's part of the reason that they're doing this as well. But they're not always successful. I mean, sometimes we're lucky and it comes up a little bit. And sometimes it truly is just, appraiser may have missed 2 comps that had sold recently, or misunderstood something, or misinterpreted square footage. So sometimes it really is an error and it can be corrected and everybody moves on. Other times the value is really not there, like possibly in your case, and it's working in your favor. At that point, I'm going to guess that your contract says it's going to be open to reconsideration or renegotiation. You may not have to move forward.
Yeah, Pat, pretty much. Is that it?
That's it in a nutshell. And I have rarely seen the appraisal overturned and increased. So you're right. You go right back to negotiation. And if, you can't come to terms, then, you don't have to purchase the house. You get your earnest money deposit back.
Well, in his case, he likes it. In that scenario, he was going to buy it for $212. Again, he does have to come out of pocket because there's a gap now. But I'll take that deal every day. If I love the house at $212, I'd like it a little bit more at $206. Right. Even though you got to come up with that additional money. I mean, sometimes it can't happen, least, but sometimes you can reach out to your family members, mother and father, aunt, uncle.
A gift, yeah.
Get a gift, maybe pull the money out of your 401k. But I think he'll get it closed up. And DeAndre, if you're still listening, I like that call a lot. More importantly, calls to Capital Mortgage Funding all week long. If you need more information, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Ed, we talked about this. It's knowledge. I mean, everything's about knowledge and communication.
Communication is critical. I mean, with the buyer's agent should reach out to the listing agent and just kind of work out something and find out what they can do to make the clients happy. Both clients on both sides, because the whole piece of the puzzle is you work for them. You work for the buyer and you work for the seller.
I have a question. I want to jump in. So if the clause for this appraisal guarantee didn't say that the house had to appraise for a minimum amount, right? Because sometimes they don't say that. Usually it'll say the buyer will pay $5,000 over whatever, as long as it appraises for a minimum of this, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't say that, is the seller obligated to sell it then for that price? No, right? Because of the contract said 212. Okay, so they can always renegotiate.
A given price, and once the appraisal waiver, appraisal guarantee, and the purchase agreement will oftentimes include a ceiling.
Yeah.
No maximum, but it's not going. The minimum would be the listing price. So you'd be willing to go up over and above the listing price if it doesn't appraise for that value to a set ceiling.
And that's usually the purchase price.
We talked about this when we first got here, guys. We were going over a couple of things, and I said, hey, the language that people are putting on these. I asked you guys, do you guys have a standard document at your office? And some offices do and some don't, but the key is a ceiling, a basement. It does. In other words, the sellers will sell it for as little as this, as high as this, and the buyers are willing to pay $5,000 over appraised value, whatever that number is. And that's what the deal is. There should, in my mind, there should be no communications or no doubt in anyone's mind of what's going to transpire once that appraisal comes back. It should be all written right ahead of time.
Absolutely. It's black and white.
It's black and white. It's as simple as that. 248-539-9797. Buying and selling real estate in 2021, really over the last 2 years, has been a little different. We're going to talk all about it this morning. Of course, we got these great agents in. And if you want to join our show, 248-539-9797. We talked a little bit about it too. You got to get your man cave on. I told you, look, they're going to start texting us in here and saying, hey, Harvey, when you're done with this mortgage real estate bit so we can start talking football. Oh, don't worry. We're going to have tons of football here on 97.1 The Ticket. So keep it here. When we come back, 248-539-9797. All your calls.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
What a day outside, man. It is going to be another summer day out there. We're still in summer. That's why. We're working on our little audio here. Turn that down. There you go. We're all good here. Hey, you're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can reach us there all week. If you'd like to call on the show here, our studio, and we take your ticket text at the same number, 248-539-9797. Always having fun talking mortgages and real estate. But we have a jam-packed sports day here with Pat Caputo coming up after us, Jim Cookies Costa then, and then Tiger Baseball a little bit later in the day. U of M game is going to be on AM 950 starting at 8 o'clock. And of course, on the FM dial, 104.3 WOMC. So find the U of M football game later. Michigan State fans, if you're cruising up to East Lansing, good luck. I think you'll knock off Wright State and have a great day out there. Just beautiful football time of the year. And we were talking about a little bit ahead. We said, bring your football knowledge, but it's a mortgage real estate show. We've been on for 23 years. And sometimes I get the weird feeling like, hey, a little bit of sports here. Well, if you don't have a house, you don't have a man cave. You got to have a man cave. And talking about that, we see so much value during the pandemic in some unique spaces, including basements where people had to move their office down there, outdoor spaces. What are some of the needs and wants as you see, wrapping up the summer of 2021?
Well, I think with the change of the pandemic and people working from home and having to teach from home, so an extra space that can be used as a home office or a multi-purpose room for teaching the children when they're home, that we're seeing a lot more of a demand of as well. And of course, the bells and whistles of a finished basement and a playroom, if you will, a man cave, those are all definite pluses.
She shed. I don't want to disinclude anyone out there for sure, Pat. Pat, let's dive into, we talked a little bit about some of the facets of a transaction, home inspections. Look, we are advocates of, you got to know what you're buying. Look, if you buy it and you know something seriously wrong with the roof, fine. You decide if you have the money and that location is perfect for you. Okay, then you're going to need a new roof in a couple of years. It is what it is.
Right. Home inspections are critical. And they, it's the buyer doing their due diligence to make sure that whatever they find in the room, in the home,
that Pat, hold on a sec. Let me make sure your mic's on. You guys hearing her? You're good. We're good. Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Just making sure that whatever they find in the home that they can handle after the fact, or go back to the seller to say, we found this, these issues that are going to be costly. Can you fix them or give us credit as seller concessions, to make sure that we can take care of those down the road when they're happening.
Your experience, over 18 years in the industry, when did it come to fruition where people were like, well, I'm going to waive my inspection? When did a seller who's going to be buying their own house, when did they deem it okay to, sort of, not fill out things in the seller's disclosure? I mean, we're literally houses are on the market, roof inspections are done. We know the house falls through, and then they don't change this. They don't share the information. That's illegal, isn't it? Don't you have to, if you know something's wrong with your house, point it out. You don't want anyone coming back to you. I mean, again, as a seller, I'm going to sell my house as is. I disclose what it is. I'm forthright with the information. Isn't that what it's all about?
It is. And I'm just noticing more in the last year that the seller, when a deal goes bad because of the home inspection, they don't want to see the home inspection report. They don't want to know why they're backing out. Just tell me you're backing out and you back out. They don't want to know because then they don't want to have to discuss it.
Okay. So that's a little trickier. So yes. We've talked about the pass-fail inspection. The pass-fail inspection is fantastic. It's basically saying, look, I'm inspecting the house I'm going to buy. I'm spending $300,000-$500,000 here. I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm not going to come back and nickel and dime you on the small stuff. It's a pass-fail. So that way your inspector comes back and goes, hey, let me point out the obvious. The furnace is 14 or 20 years old. We live in Michigan. The roof needs a couple more vents because it's got a horrible ridge vent and it just doesn't breathe enough. So they know what they're getting into. Our people, our sellers, is that where the market has gone to on inspections? Let's just do a pass-fail.
I'd like to say that that's the case, but no, the buyers, they're figuring, hey, I went over your asking price. I'm going to nickel and dime you during the home inspection. I'm finding a lot of that now. And, they do eventually get to a happy medium, but it is, their way of trying to get back to what they originally wanted to pay for it.
Sure. Look, everyone's trying to move forward into that new house. They've already looked at 20 of them. They've been driving around in this humidity this summer, maybe a couple rainstorms. I just want my offer accepted. All right, we're going to continue with different aspects of home ownership. The title insurance policy, of course, title, it rarely comes up there if there's any problems on a transaction, but we'd still find that some families don't have discharges of mortgages recorded. And you real estate agents are scrambling too at the last minute, or there's something that wasn't recorded properly. I'm going to say just in general, the title companies are doing a fantastic job. It was so refreshing. I got out to a closing. A little heads up to First Centennial Title, Charlie and the boys over there. Charlie and I have gone to boxing matches, not to watch them, to fight with each other. And I just loved them. Him and I hugging it out again. We get to talk about the old times. And boy, a lot of fun at closing still, the old-fashioned closings.
Well, closings are always fun because that's when everyone's dream comes true. So they're starting on their next chapter, their next value. So it's usually fun for everybody on both sides of a transaction.
I think it is fun on the other side. And, I was in the room and, again, we were distanced away enough, but it was fun to hear all the facets of the house. And the seller was a plumber. He was a licensed plumber. So he had all his licensed electrician buddies come over and upgrade the entire house. And they shared their trades with each other. And if you can find a house that had a guy who was a plumber or a woman who was an electrician or a heating and cooling guy, wasn't that a great house to buy usually, guys?
That was an awesome house to buy because those issues are already taken care of and they're not existent.
Yeah, having handy people again. When sometimes you'll stumble into a house and there's just lack of maintenance. And again, it could be you might be buying my house and I'm just not as maybe handy as that electrician or someone like that. So it's so important to have that education. Let's roll into the conversation a little bit about that. Educating the buyers in today's marketplace, or even educating the sellers. Isn't it hard to ask those buyers? And Ed, I think you had one roll in. Hey, are you really approved? Because we know that a piece of paper from some mortgage broker in the middle of the country somewhere, and we can see his NMLS number. He's brand new to the industry. These aren't approvals. In fact, Ed, I think you were working with someone who's probably not going to be able to get a mortgage for the last 2 months. Want your money back on your gas, on the gas you spent, maybe, right?
Not exactly, Harvey. I enjoy helping and serving people. So, every buyer doesn't buy every house they see. Every seller doesn't sell for every agent they meet. So it's just real estate is a relationship business. So getting out there and meeting people and being able to help them, sometimes it might not work out today, but you don't know about tomorrow. So they're on a plan where they're going to be able to get a conventional mortgage together. And Capital Mortgage gave them a perfect plan for 30 days. So I'll revisit them in a month.
There you go. Like you said, you might not actually be able to work with someone right now. And maybe it doesn't even work for them, but they might have a family member that really enjoyed the experience and the attention you're giving. It's always about the relationship. And I always think the communication, sometimes I'm talking too much. There's no doubt about that. But I think it's great if someone can return a quick call. Is that you giggling, Lisa? Yes.
Sorry.
But definitely, being able to answer a phone call. I'm doing pre-approvals last night. It's so competitive out there. If you called your lender past 6 o'clock at night and they're not answering your phone calls, what do you think is going to happen when the listing agent calls them and they don't answer? The listing agent will just go on to the next deal and you're going to miss out on that house because you're not dealing with local lenders. Lisa, we can get it done at Capital Mortgage. Let's just talk about the different programs we offer and let's throw in Mishta too for all the families out there who want to become buyers.
Absolutely. There isn't a program that we don't have. We do FHA, we do USDA, VA loans, obviously conventional loans. Under conventional, we do all the different subsets that you hear about, especially for first-time home buyers. There is programs that they've come with conventional first-time home buyer specials, I call them, that allow you to do 3% down on those. And then we also do down payment assistance programs. So I do a lot of Mishta loans. You can do Mishta with and without down payment assistance. There is a qualifying process. So it is meant for people who are low to moderate income. There's some caps and things and some credit requirements. So it's not meant for everybody, but it helps out a lot. And you can get between $7,500 up to $10,000 towards closing costs, down payment, taxes, insurance. And that can really make a difference for someone who's been renting and have a hard time to kind of come up with that pool of money because they're spending money on rent every month. And it's just hard for them to save enough to cover their closing costs. Those programs can kind of fill that in. So
definitely buying a new home in today's marketplace can be a little bit of a struggle. If you've got one to sell, I want to dive into that. If you've got any questions, 248-539-9797. We'd love to hear from you. If you're buying or selling a house, we got the experts on from ReMax Eclipse, Ed and Pat. You guys are fantastic. And again, these are like old time real estate agents, family oriented, building relationships. If you want someone to look out for your best interest, ReMax Eclipse got a whole bunch of those type of agents out there. But again, buying a house, and we'll probably get cut off by the break here and we'll come back to it. Buying a house, wanting to buy a house, and you got to sell your existing one. There's some interesting strategies for that because, as you mentioned earlier on the show, Ed, some people just don't want to sell their house until they've got that other one under contract.
Yeah, there are contingencies that can be written into an agreement, a listing agreement, and purchase agreement, knowing that it's contingent on you finding a home. So there shouldn't be the apprehension about listing your home if you're seriously looking. Now is a great time, especially if you're a seller. And it's also a good time if you're a buyer, because look at the mortgage rates. Look at the rates you're getting. Historically, you're not going to find anything like that.
Yeah, these are just the best times of the last couple of years, no doubt. I mean, maybe even the last 10 years. We think we've been in an unbelievable market as the economy was recovering from the harsher times of 2009, 10, and probably started improving in 2012. Again, 248-539-9797. And we want to hear from you. So make sure you give us a call here in the next thing. Buying that next house, you can put the reverse contingency on. Again, get your house sold, but give yourself 2 to 3 weeks to go ahead and find a new one. All right, when we come back, a little bit more details, 248-539-9797.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
$944. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Of course, we're powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. We are a huge national company offering every mortgage program in every state in the United States. If you want to buy that second home, give us a call, Capital Mortgage Funding, and we'll get you set up with a licensed professional in that state. And of course, right here in Michigan, we do an outstanding job of really counseling our clients and building those long-term relationships. So good, give us a try. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Buying a new home when you need to sell your current home. Boy, that's a popular one. We just touched about it a little bit. And often I'm telling people, look, if you're ready to go, you can get your house prepped and get it on the market. You can accept an offer. And you said it, Ed. You said you just put a contingency on it. So you're like, Mr. Buyer, I'm going to accept your offer. You guys are our first choice, but sign this contingency. Allow me to go find a house for the next 2 weeks. And then I had a client who put in an additional, they said that they can extend it per week without even having to change the addendum, so that they were doing verbal extensions on this. And they went ahead and found a house within that time frame, removed their extension, and we did a simultaneous closing. It worked out great. Is that where we're going with today's market? If you got to sell your house, you got to do it that way.
I think with the market today, I think we're going in that direction because of that gridlock and the lack of inventory and the more buyers. So there's got to be a little bit of give and take, being able to work out with each other. And again, that goes to communication on both sides of the transaction, which is critical.
Lisa, we could close on somebody at 5% down. So again, if you don't want to sell your house and you got that thing, you might qualify to purchase a new house. In fact, I'm going to say half the clients do. You either do or you don't. But many of our clients, in fact, I'm going to be talking with the client when I get out of here this morning. I believe she's able to go ahead and purchase a new place, strong approval. She has gift money if she needs it, and qualify for this new mortgage without selling her existing home.
Absolutely. There's a few tricks to that process too. If you intended or was hoping to use equity from the sale of your home, but decided you can't sell it first, we do recastable loans. That means once you sell the house, you can take all that money that you made, put it on the mortgage, and we recast it. So it'll actually lower your payment. So that way you're not having to completely refinance again or lose that low rate that you might have right now. So there's a lot of tricks to this. And there's a lot of ways that we can get things done to make sure that we're not, incurring extra costs that are unnecessary. But definitely talk to the experts so they can go through all the options with you.
That's one of the things, because each house, Pat, you walk into a house and all of a sudden it's got a brand new kitchen. So you can put a little bit more money down on the house, maybe cover that appraisal guarantee, knowing that the house you move into really is in move-in condition.
Completely. Yeah. And a lot of the mechanics, if they're updated and everything, you don't need the extra cash to do those things. We're also schooling our sellers that, you might want to move in with mom and dad for 30 days after your closing, so that you don't have to
You can get a mortgage to buy out a family member as long as there's a house on that property. It's not vacant land. That's absolutely doable.
You guys sound like you got a nice property there. You know what? It really brings all the lawyers are listening to this going, another person who needed an estate plan. You know, you got to tell you nowadays, I'm 55 now. So yeah, we got to tell our moms and dads and people that are going to be leaving real estate. Look, what do they think? It's going to bring your relationship together with your family members. It's going to cause another disturbance. So really families need to spell that out in estate plans, wills, trusts, estates, get those all figured out ahead of time, find out the best path. But again, in your situation, reach out to them, try to make the peace, be the peacekeeper and offer them, say, look, we could do, we'll buy out of the property. We'll get a mortgage and we'll take our share of the equity and we'll buy you out. And hopefully you guys can go down that road. I want to hear what happens, Chris. I hope you give us a follow-up call here and hopefully you can acquire that property. Well, one of the things is we might want to start you out with a phone call just to see how it shows on title and who was left the house and things of that nature, because a lot of times we find out maybe it's not what you think. So there's no cost to have some title searches done right away and move towards that direction. And again, I'll urge you to make some peace with the person who you're not getting along with. Sometimes try one more time, reach out. I always say, don't give up, just keep trying. I don't know. There you go. Yeah. Ed
For next June, like a year from now?
Word on this call.
I think you just got to work with them, and when you're ready, I think maybe it's better if you have someone that can interact and work as a mediator for both of you. So it's a win-win on both sides.
Sometimes a real estate agent might even jump in and say, hey, look, this is the reality behind it. This is what the home's selling for. Take your money and run. Why fight with your brothers? You're not showing up here anyways. Hey, go invest your money in whatever. Take your money. They're willing to buy you out and go buy something that you want to do or put it away for your future. Yeah. I love the call. I just love the normal call, Chris, and I hope the best for your family. Thanks again. And again, give us some follow-up on it. 248-539-9797. We might have a minute or two if you want to sneak in a call. I see Pat Caputo. He's getting ready. He's already swinging double bats over there in the on-deck circle, and he'll be ready to hit it out of the park here just in a little bit. Again, we want to thank Ed and Patricia for coming on again, just if we run out of time here, guys. ReMax Eclipse. I know that you guys just changed your name of the office. You're awesome. You handle all counties. We'll say the 5-county area. You're willing to drive anywhere, but they're experts in Macomb County. That's for sure. And is that it? Oh, there's the music. It's the fastest hour in radio. Patricia, thanks again for coming in. You're fantastic. All right. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We got Pat Caputo coming up. I said Jim Cookies Costa then and Tiger Baseball a little bit later. We will see you next Saturday.